Supercross. Supercross got its start in 1969 at the Los Angeles Coliseum. By the mid-70s, the sport had taken off, and in 1976, the organizers built the track both inside and outside the Coliseum with a ramp that climbed up through the stands, around the famed Olympic arches, and then back into the stadium. It was less than a year ago that these same arches were the backdrop for the opening ceremonies of the 23rd Olympiad. Supercross has made a lot of progress since the mid-1970s. It's not an Olympic sport yet, but there is a 14-race circuit in the United States and a 5-race circuit in Canada, and this is the first in the Canadian series. Pat Gonzalez is a Supercross expert. Now, for the uninitiated, Pat, how do you watch Supercross?
Well, Ernie, one of the most important points in any Supercross race, of course, is the start. The riders have to get out of that rat trap starting gate very quickly, get up front, and then charge to that first turn. Now, that first corner can be very, very treacherous. We've seen so many riders go down in that first turn in many Supercross races. Now, you try to get up front with the first few riders and then start to get into the pace of the racetrack. They'll be hitting the track here for the first time in probably a good hour since they last ran their qualifier or their heat. So you try to get out there, get into the rhythm, and then as we get into the closing stages of the race where we're seeing the riders start to get a little tired, a little fatigued, they've really been taking a tremendous pounding. But the spot on the track that I think could be the big factor tonight is that big tabletop jump. We've already seen one rider bail off in practice, and he went down very hard. But that could be the spot on the track that separates the men from the boys.
Okay, behind us, we have about 4 laps to go in that third heat. And one of the favorites in there is Jim Gibson. Let's join him now and see how he's doing.
Jim Gibson is currently running in the number 2 position, trying to chase down Alan Dick, one of the fine Supercross and motocross riders from the province of British Columbia. Up over that tabletop jump goes Jim Gibson. Diamond Jim Gibson, a former Honda factory rider, now a privateer, and he wants the lead. They're into the tighter section of the course here now as Alan Dick continues to lead. A bit of a surprise, but Gibson is right there as they come up to the series of double jumps.
This is a spectacular series here, and it takes a lot of technique. They're clearing, trying to land in a perfect position because they don't want to lose momentum here.
You can get into a lot of trouble off those double jumps, but both Gibson and Dick taking them perfectly as you're seeing some great motocross, supercross riding style. Dick, a bit of a surprise. I don't think too many people thought he'd be up front here in this qualifier, as Gibson, certainly the more experienced rider, but Gibson is right there, and now Gibson closing it up in the more technical, tighter sections of the track. Alan Dick up over the King Kong jump. They go up over that big tabletop, and both riders getting lots of air off that tabletop jump.
And when they come off that tabletop, there's a very hard left turn there, and they could get fouled up.
That can be one of the tricky spots on this track as well, as Gibson now challenging up over the double jumps. He's right alongside. They go wheel to wheel. Dick on the outside, Gibson on the inside, and he takes the lead. Jim Gibson using his experience as he got to the inside, but here comes Alan Dick back on the inside, and Dick will go into the lead through turn 1. Some great action up front.
Yeah, they're changing leads here and fighting it out, especially on these tough hurdles.
Coming up over the double jumps, there is Gibson. He takes the inside. Alan Dick up on the outside. They're going handlebar to handlebar, wheel to wheel over those double jumps. But it is Gibson who has the inside line. He pushes Alan Dick to the outside, slides in front of him, and takes the lead.
Pat, it takes a lot of courage to go head-to-head that way because you're not exactly sure how you're going to land in spots, and you have to watch that other rider all the time. There could be a tremendous collision.
Well, these two riders are really going at it. Gibson and Alan Dick. Alan Dick back out in front after losing the lead. There's Gibson. He's going to try him again. The same spot on the track. Gibson pulls it off again. Almost a carbon copy replay of that pass that he made earlier. But Gibson in the lead here now on the last lap. And he is certainly the more experienced rider, having run many of the championship supercross races in the United States. He continues to lead it, but Alan Dick is right there in a close second place.
Alan Dick twice got caught on the outside on that final turn going into that straightaway, and he loses it that way.
There's Gibson, all kinds of air off that tabletop jump. He's got about a half a lap to go as he works the whoop-de-doos. Alan Dick about 0.7, 8 bike lengths back, and it does not look as though he's going to be able to catch Gibson. Gibson has turned that throttle a little bit harder here on the last lap, coming up on a slower rider who goes down. But it is Diamond Jim Gibson from Canyon Lake, California, coming up, takes the checkered flag for the win.
A fine ride by Jim Gibson, who trailed, and as you saw, and Pat described, the lead was changing all the time, but some fine work just in that final stretch, so to speak, gave him.
Well, here's Gibson again, the same move. He takes the inside line coming out of the final turn and almost cuts right in front of Alan Dick to take the lead and hold it to the checkered flag.
So Jim Gibson and his aggressive ride gives him the heat victory and a berth in the final, along with Alan Dick of Abbotsford. The others get another chance to qualify. This is the moment Canadians have been waiting for. Now out on the track, they're lining up for the fourth heat. Included in the field is Canada's top Supercross rider, rollerball Ross Peterson from Medicine Hat, Alberta. Last year, he had bad luck here in Vancouver when his rear brake locked up early in the race, but he still finished fifth. And then later in June, he won the Montreal Supercross in a terrific battle with Jim Gibson. It came down to the wire with Peterson winning on the last lap. It was a great race. I had a chance to talk to him earlier today about his goals as the circuit moves to Canada.
Coming up from the United States has been a big boost for my morale. Down in the United States, we've had some really tough competition, and I've got in about 4 extra months of practice down there. And coming up to Canada, it gives you great advantage to come up here and ride our first national so early in the season.
What about the course itself? How do you like it?
The course is demanding this year. It's a lot faster than last year's course, and I think a little more technically difficult. We're going to see a lot more spectacular jumps and more passing this year.
The confident Ross Peterson is in the far right there in the yellow helmet. He's in the middle of the line. Number 1, Jeff Sutherland is number 6. Some other riders there that are excellent. Michael Larson, number 70. Gary Heinerman, 86. They're all set to go. This is the start.
Waiting for that gate to drop. All eyes focused on that gate. And they're off. There's Peterson right in the middle of the pack. Rider in the yellow jersey. He takes the lead going into turn 1. A great start here for Ross Rollerball Peterson as he opens up a quick lead here on the rest of the pack. Peterson getting the whole shot, and already he's opened up 3 or 4 bike lengths on the second and third place riders.
Look at that jam up on that right turn that comes early in the race, and there's a lot of trouble developing there.
A number of riders getting caught there as we had 2 or 3 riders almost stall the motorcycles on the top of the jump. But here is Peterson doing exactly as he had planned, get out in front early and open up a bit of a cushion as he wants to go directly from this qualifying heat into the final. And he's looking very good off these series of double jumps as he's about to move back onto the start straightaway to complete his first lap.
And this is where they really generate some speed. They have some room there, and they have that big right turn there, and they get tremendous speed hitting those bumps and try to fly over several of them.
Well, Peterson has really been riding aggressively since the drop of the gate. There you can see him working his way, putting his foot down. The body becomes part of the suspension. The legs and knees really take a pounding out here. Up over the King Kong jump, getting lots of air, and then back up onto the tabletop. This is that switchback, left-hand switchback turn, and Peterson again back on the throttle, really working the Suzuki motorcycle here as he's opened up quite a lead here on the second-place rider.
I think this is the most spectacular part of the course because it takes a rhythm and a timing to get out one jump and then land on the downslope of one farther on down.
This is where the better riders are making up time over that series of double jumps. And Peterson is just riding beautifully out here. Again, coming up through this tighter section. Really cracking the throttle loose on this 250cc Suzuki. Here's your third place rider, Michael Larson, just ahead of him, Jeff Sutherland in the second place position, and this is a good battle for second place.
Michael Larson is just 18 years old. He's from Bremerton, Washington, and he is so shy, painfully shy, I might add, but is very aggressive on the track. His brother says, you know, I worry about him sometime because he does things I'm afraid to do.
Well, he's certainly one of the up-and-coming riders. Just 18 years of age. He's still got many years left in this sport, but he is really knocking on the door here of Jeff Sutherland as they go up over those double jumps. And the 18-year-old from Washington State wants that second-place position. There he goes to the outside. Peterson continues to hold a commanding lead.
Just 2 laps to go now. Ross Peterson from Medicine Hat, the top rider in Canada with all kinds of confidence. You see how he's carrying on there, just going beautifully.
It's been a good year so far for Ross Peterson. He finished 11th back in March in the Daytona Supercross. But again, he was up against all of the best riders in the world in the factory teams. He had a great 5th place finish in an outdoor 250cc race in California at the end of March. So he's had a good season so far. Running in a little bit of trouble there, but of course is able to recover as he continues to run well out in front.
And he has to be careful too, because he is lapping some riders. He has to take a line sometimes he doesn't want.
Well, he's still riding very hard here, and again, when he gets out in front like this and he is coming up on those slower riders, he's perhaps a little bit more cautious, because you could easily be put down out there if you run into the back of one of those slower machines.
Watch this. That's rhythm.
Beautiful riding over there, timing, and again, just controlling the motorcycle with the throttle.
We're into that last lap now. If Ross Peterson can hold on and win this one, he, along with a 2nd place finisher, will qualify for the final. The other riders get more chances down the line.
Peterson perhaps riding a little bit more cautiously now. He knows he has a commanding lead, and he does not want to run into any problems here with less than a lap to go. But again, he takes plenty of air going over that King Kong jump, off the tabletop, and through the left-hand switchback, showing why he is the Canadian Supercross champion, dominating outdoor competition last year as well, winning the 125 and 250cc outdoor championships. But again, there's your 2nd place rider, Larson, but it's very close for 2nd. Peterson through the final turn, coming up on a slower rider, but there's the checkered flag and the win for Ross Peterson. There's your 2nd place battle. Michael Larson on the lime green Kawasaki, but there goes Jeff Sutherland, number 6, up on the outside. It'll be close at the checkered flag. Up on the outside, Sutherland grabs 2nd, Larson is 3rd.
The young Michael Larson, 18 years old from Bremerton. This is his chance to qualify in this 4th heat, but he does get another chance down the line. The 2 to advance into the finals from this heat, Ross Peterson from Medicine Hat and Jeff Sutherland from Woodsley, Ontario. A very fine race. You know, there are 2 types of racing today, and both produce an awful lot of excitement. Here's Pat.
This is the Supercross bike, some 220 pounds of plastic, aluminum, and steel. The engine produces some 45 horsepower. The transmission is a 5-speed. A single shock tucked in under the seat absorbs the tremendous pounding these motorcycles will take. Now, this is a Thunder Buggy, some 1,300 pounds of metal and rubber. It is powered by a 1,600cc Volkswagen engine that puts out some 125 horsepower. Suspension all important on these off-road buggies. Twin shocks up front, 4 shocks in the rear. That's a look at the Supercross bike and the Thunder Buggies. The one similarity between these 2 machines is that they'll both start at the starting gate and go charging into that first turn. You thought the motorcycles were exciting? We've got the Thunder Buggies coming up next.
And we have more excitement as the Supercross final is coming up next. A beating from the buggies, it changes the course, and the riders look for potential problems. Now, let's meet some of the riders today.
Number 15, Jim Gibson, won his heat. He's from Canyon Lake, California. Number 3, Alan Dick from Abbotsford, BC.
Number 2 is Doug Hoover from Mount Albert, Ontario, who won the 2nd heat. 62 is Phil Larson from Bremerton, Washington.
Number 22, Jeff Hicks, also won his qualifying heat. He's from Atwater, Ohio. Young Eric Hall, number 351 from Camas, Washington.
The 4th heat winner was Ross Peterson, number 1 from Medicine Hat. Number 6, Jeff Sutherland from Woodsley, Ontario.
There's the starter's hut as he will operate the rat trap starting gate. The riders have been given the signal by the CMA referee to fire up those motorcycles.
And the favorites are right beside that hut. Number 62 is Phil Larson. Number 1, Ross Peterson. Number 22 is Jeff Hicks. And I had a chance to talk to Jeff Hicks earlier today. What do you think of the course?
Well, I think the course is going to be good. The racing's going to be tight, and it's going to be a lot of passing and a lot of close, tight racing. I think it's going to be good.
Okay, where is the main competition coming from, do you think?
Main competition comes from Ross Peterson. He's a Canadian Supercross national champion, and he's here to win, but so am I. So we're here to race with him.
Moments away from the start, Peterson, Larson, Hicks, revving those motorcycles up, waiting for the gate to drop. It goes, and there goes Peterson right in the middle of the pack. They're over that finish, jumping into turn 1. It is Jeff Hicks who has pulled a whole shot here. Hicks with the lead off the start through that second right-hand turn. It is Jeff Hicks with the lead. Ross Peterson is well back at this point. Number 3, Alan Dick in second. Doug Hoover, number 2, up in the third. There's the pile-up at the top of that jump. Peterson getting hung up behind a pack of about 7 or 8 riders. Right now, he is well back, but there's your leader, Jeff Hicks, number 22. Alan Dick, number 3, is in second. Phil Larson has moved up to third, and then it is Doug Hoover in fourth. But here's your leader already open up quite a gap on that second-place battle. Hicks up over those series of double jumps, and he takes 2 at a time. Uses the berm there, coming back onto the start straight away to complete his first lap. Jeff Hicks off to a quick start.
You always talk about the start and how important it is. Number 22, Hicks, got it, and he's out in front now. What did he do here, Pat, that got him there so quickly?
Hicks very quick out of the starting gate. Peterson, I think, got hung up with Larson momentarily. Larson got through, but Hicks just very, very fast out of the starting gate and through the first couple of turns. He's got the lead, and he has opened up quite a margin over that second-place battle. That is a good one, involving Alan Dick, along with Phil Larson and Doug Hoover. But here's your leader with breathing room here in the early going. Back up over those series of double jumps, looking very strong right now.
Some disappointment there for the followers of Jim Gibson from Canyon Lake, California. He was in the middle of the pack there, and he just got hung up and pushed in the middle, and he just couldn't break out. And I think he's way back now, has no chance.
Well, Gibson right now is well beyond the top 10. I think he was involved in that first lap shunt involving about 5 or 6 riders. And right now he's well back of the front-running Honda-mounted rider, Jeff Hicks, out of Atwater, Ohio. And you can see Hicks off the tabletop and the big King Kong jump, getting lots of air, riding very, very aggressively here in the early going.
Pat, the idea here on technique is when you're hitting these bumps to land with the rear wheel first and give you that momentum ahead. Of course, on some bumps you have to land with the front wheel on the smaller ones. But when you get some air time, you have to land on the back wheel.
Well, they try to keep that rear wheel down. There's Peterson. Peterson trying to charge back up. He's coming up on Michael Larson, number 70, trying to get around the Kawasaki-mounted rider. Peterson has really charged back up here, currently running in the number 9 position. So he was well beyond the top 10, but he is on the charge. He's got an awful lot of ground to make up, and remember, this is just 15 laps to the checkered flag. There's your leader, Hicks. Continues to run very, very strong here on lap 4. Jeff Hicks.
Sorry, Pat, he has to be very careful, though, as you say, when he leads, because one small mistake here will allow the others to take over. And in a short race, and it is at 15 laps, it's very difficult to recover from a fall.
Well, right now, Hicks is racing the track. There's nobody up front challenging him for the lead. So right now, he's just trying to go as fast as he possibly can around this track. There you can see the right leg went down to almost a pivot point to get through that right-hand turn. This is the tighter section of the course, very technical here. You can get into trouble there very easily. Lots of air. That time he landed on the front wheel. That's not the ideal landing spot, but Hicks, of course, very experienced, has raced a great deal in the United States in many of the very, very competitive Supercross races down there. And right now he is holding on to a very big lead. That second place battle continues to be a good one, involving Larson, Phil Larson, the Washington State rider, along with the 2 fine Canadian riders, Doug Hoover and Alan Dick.
They're all in close behind Jeff Hicks, who has about a quarter lap lead right now. But Jeff Hicks, Matt, cannot afford a mistake here. There's some speed back there. If he bubbles, he's going to be passed.
Well, Larson has really been on the charge along with Alan Dick and Doug Hoover. This is a great battle for second place. If something was to happen to Jeff Hicks up front, we would have these three guys all gunning for the lead. So this is a very close race for second. Here's your leader, Jeff Hicks. So far, he has just been letter perfect out there as you see him work those series of whoop-de-doos. Hicks looking very strong here, accelerating out of that turn as he comes to the double jump.
And he's been avoiding all problems, really. He got out of that first turn ahead, and he's in complete control right now. And he has excellent technique. We can see it again as he goes through the whoop-de-doos, as you call them, Pat.
All coming up over here, there's Hicks. Great style. He's got perfect timing off these jumps, crosses it up,
A little bit of showmanship there.
over these series of double jumps, and again landing perfectly through the final turn.
So after 7 laps, Jeff Hicks of Atwater, Ohio, just out of Cleveland, is leading. Bill Larson is second. Alan Dick is in third position. Doug Hoover fourth. Darren Sharuga of Calgary is fifth. And Ross Peterson, Canada's best up until this race, is back in seventh, but he's coming fast.
Peterson is really on the charge. He's well up into the top 10 there, running in that 7th place position. But here's your leader, Hicks. Peterson's got an awful lot of ground to catch up, and Hicks has really been riding beautifully here since the start. He's already up into some of the slower riders. There he comes, lots of air off that double jump. Again, taking all of those doubles perfectly. The last corner here to move back onto the start straightaway. There is Bill Larson, number 62. Larson on the Kawasaki. This is that battle going on for the second place position. Larson, who was back in third, goes to the inside of Alan Dick and goes back into second place. Those two riders, along with Hoover, there you can see Hoover, number 2, have been having a war for that second place position. Alan Dick, number 3, trying to get back around. Bill Larson, your leader, continues to be this man, Jeff Hicks, number 22, Atwater, Ohio, about 50 miles outside of Cleveland. As he continues to work backmarker traffic, there's number 53, young 17-year-old Kevin Moore going down as Hicks puts a lap on him, coming off the end of the series of double jumps back through the final turn to move on to the start straightaway. So he is really moving very quickly out there. He's lapped about half the field.
Pat, you talked about Kevin Moore at 17 years of age. Most of the riders here are 17, 18, 19, and in their early 20s. It appears that they take such a pounding in this type of racing, it wears them down, and a 25-year-old body just can't take it anymore. So it's really a young rider's game.
Well, Ernie, many of these riders started at the age of 9 and 10 racing mini-cycles, moved up through junior, senior, and finally up into the expert and professional ranks. So by the time you hit 21, 22, you're pretty well in your prime. At 25 and 26, you're ready to call it a career and hang up your helmet. There's your second place rider, Doug Hoover, who is now charged into the second place position after battling with Bill Larson and Alan Dick. And this has been a tremendous race for second place. Your leader continues to be number 22, Jeff Hicks, from Atwater, Ohio, on that red Honda machine. Coming through this tighter section of whoop-de-doos. Again, you can see the right foot off the peg there, using it as a pivot point through that right turn.
And there's a good mix of turns here on this track and jumps. They got many on the left, many on the right, and those straight hurdles.
Well, Hicks just came through perhaps the most spectacular portion of this course. That big King Kong jump, followed by the tabletop. Here he is working backmarker traffic up over these double jumps. Hicks using the berm there in the final turn to accelerate onto the start straightaway. Watch Hicks here work and pass some of the slower riders. This is John Eboy from Delta, BC. He goes to the inside. Hicks has normally been going outside through that switchback turn, but he knew that that is exactly where Eboy was going to go. He took the other line on the inside and got around the slower rider. So that is a good indication of the talent and experience here of our leader, Jeff Hicks. as he moves back up over those series of double jumps, and he's been very fast through that section. Here he comes through the final turn. Hicks almost crashing there, back up on the motorcycle. What a save that was. He almost threw it away coming through that final turn, but again showing his experience as he was able to hang on to the motorcycle. Here is Hicks trying to pass yet another slower rider coming through that final turn. That is Corey Clott. And Hicks gets right off the motorcycle, feet on the dirt. It wheelies as he gets back on the throttle, manages to get back onto the motorcycle and continues.
I think that right leg actually stabilized him as he was coming down and straightened out the machine.
Well, he used a lot of body angles to try to save it, and he did a great job. We're on lap number 13 as we have just 2 laps to go, a little over 2 laps to go as Jeff Hicks continues to run well out in front. Ross Peterson has really been charging. He's closing in on that 3rd place position.
It seemed that Hicks almost got in trouble once again there, trying to go to the inside and lapping one of the other riders. He almost got run off.
Well, Hicks is really trying to read the other rider and get some kind of an indication as to where he's going to go on the track, but you're never sure. Here's Peterson into the 3rd place position. He has been charging after that horrendous start, but I think with only 2 laps to go, he just might not have enough time to pull off the win here.
Ross Peterson from Medicine Hat, an exciting rider, but of course Jeff Hicks has control at the moment. All he has to do now is protect against any kind of a minor mistake.
Well, right now Hicks is going to ride a very controlled concluding laps back over those series of double jumps, and he has just been very, very strong in that particular section of the track. Here he is. The blue last lap flag is out for Jeff Hicks. He has never won a Supercross race. Right now he's less than 1 lap away from his first Supercross win.
And it's amazing to see a rider of this caliber working so well with a machine not being able to win before this.
Well, down in the United States, Hicks is in some pretty tough competition running against the factory teams. Here tonight, everybody's on production-based motorcycles, bikes that are fairly equal in horsepower and handling, and it ultimately becomes a test of rider ability. And Hicks right now, less than a lap to go, being very cautious now as again he comes by a couple of slower riders over those double jumps. And this is where he has made up so much time over those series of double jumps. Through the final turn, coming to the line, checkered flag, and there's the win for Jeff Hicks.
A near perfect ride for the champion from Atwater, Ohio, Jeff Hicks, who took it from the start and never let up and went all the way to victory. And Doug Hoover finished in 2nd. He's from Mount Albert, Ontario. And Hoover also ran a very fine race, but never was able to really put a lot of pressure on Hicks. But this man, Ross Peterson from Medicine Hat, got a horrendous start, but came back very strong. He just ran out of time, really. He was just great. But Jeff Hicks had one problem, and we'll show it to you once again. He almost lost the race here.
Here's where Jeff Hicks almost crashes. He comes through that final turn, lands on the front wheel, gets bounced right off the motorcycle. The right foot goes down. He's back under control and goes for the win.
Acrobatics. And here's Pat with the winner.
Jeff Hicks, congratulations on just a tremendous ride out there. How did it go for you?
It went smooth as silk. I didn't have any problems. I got first off the start and just rode as smooth and as clean as I could the whole way through. Made one small error, and it didn't really matter in the outcome, and everything just went perfect.
Did you expect to see any company there in the closing laps, perhaps Ross or Jim Gibson?
Well, Ross I didn't, because I saw him where the track passes pretty close by, and I knew I was quite a ways out from him. But I don't think I had more than 5-second lead on the 2nd place rider. And Hoover hung right in there, and one mistake, and I'm sure he would have got me. But the start was real important, and this kind of racing, it's a little difficult to pass, and when you get out on the start, it makes a lot of difference.
Okay, Jeff, congratulations again on a great ride, and we look forward to seeing you in some of the other rounds across Canada in 1985.
I'm hoping to be there.